What if I told you that the tiny home on a trailer you've been saving up for is secretly one of the worst ways to start a tiny house living? I know. You have watched dozens of trailer builds. You have pinned the floor plans. You have done the math on towing capacity. But here's what nobody tells you. Trailers come with a legal gray area that can get your home towed off your property. Literally. They depreciate like a used car. And the average tiny house on wheels will cost you $50,000 to $120,000 once it is done. Meanwhile, I started with a $5,000 prefab shed from a local supplier. And for somewhere between $15,000 and $30,000 total, I had a legal, insulated, fully functional tiny home sitting on a real foundation. In this video, I am breaking down the real numbers, the honest pitfalls, and the exact step-by-step process for converting a prefab shed into a tiny home in 2026. Stay with me till the end, because I am revealing the one permit mistake that costs people thousands, and how to avoid it. Before we dive in, if you're new here, this channel is all about honest, no-hype housing solutions. Hit subscribe and tap the bell so you never miss a build update. And drop a comment right now. Are you team trailer or team shed? I want to know. Let us talk about why so many people start with trailers, and why the shed conversion is quietly winning in 2026. Tiny houses on wheels, or THOs, are built on a custom trailer frame. They are mobile, they are romantic, and on Instagram, they look incredible. But here is the truth the influencers skip. 1. Legal status. Most THOs are classified as RVs. And in many cities and counties, you are legally banned from using an RV as a permanent dwelling. So your dream home could legally be parked, not lived in. 2. The trailer alone costs $5,000 to $10,000, and that is before a single board is cut. 3. Depreciation. A trailer home loses value like a vehicle. A shed conversion on a foundation can appreciate over time, just like a traditional home. 4. Financing. Banks do not love those. But a shed conversion categorized as an ADU, an accessory dwelling unit, on your property? That is a whole different conversation. Now, I'm not saying trailers are useless. If you genuinely need mobility, if you plan to move every few months, a THOW makes sense. But if you want a permanent, affordable, build once live forever setup, the shed conversion wins almost every time. Honest caveat. Shed conversions are stationary. Once placed on a foundation, moving one requires specialized equipment. Be honest with yourself about your lifestyle before you commit. Let's talk about money. This is the part most videos get wrong or deliberately vague about. Not here. According to 2026 data, a full shed to tiny home conversion ranges from as low as $12,500 to as high as $50,000 or more, depending on finish level. Here's how that breaks down. The prefab shed itself will run you between $3,600 and $12,000, depending on the size, material, and supplier you choose. A proper foundation, ideally a poured concrete slab, adds $1,500 to $4,000. You can go with gravel and piers for less, but concrete is the recommended choice for a full residential conversion. Insulation and weatherproofing will cost $600 to $2,500. Options include spray foam for the best air seal, rigid foam boards, or fiberglass bats as the most budget-friendly route. Electrical work runs $3,000 to $6,000 in 2026. Labor rates for licensed electricians have surged, and that range needs to cover not just interior wiring, but also the trenching and service panel upgrade required to bring power from your main house to the shed. Do not lowball this line item. Plumbing, if you're adding a full bathroom and kitchen, adds $2,000 to $5,000. If you want to keep costs lower, a composting toilet is a legal and practical option in many areas. Interior finishes, including flooring, wall paneling, cabinets, and fixtures, range from $1,200 on the DIY low end up to $6,000 or more if you want a polished, custom look. Permits and local fees add $500 to $3,000 depending on your location. The permit itself averages around $1,500, but be aware that many growing suburbs, including counties in states like North Carolina, have introduced ADU impact fees that can push your total permit cost toward $3,000. Call your local zoning office and ask specifically about impact fees before you budget anything. Add it all up, and your total estimated range sits between $15,000 and $50,000 for a realistic 2026 build. For a DIY-heavy project where you handle the finishes yourself, you can land closer to that lower end. But if you are hiring out the electrical, plumbing, and foundation work, the honest mid-range for a turnkey conversion is now closer to $35,000. Plan for that number and treat anything lower as a bonus. Now compare that to the average tiny house on wheels, which runs $50,000 to $120,000 based on 2026 national averages, or a traditional home build at $150,000 minimum in most U.S. markets in 2026. The numbers speak for themselves. Honest note, some sources cite average conversion costs of up to $50,000 when people opt for high-end finishes and full utility connections. Budget conservatively. Always get 3 contractor quotes before you commit. Not every shed is conversion ready. Here's what to look for in 2026 when you're shopping. Size. The sweet spot for a single person or couple is a 12 by 20 foot shed. That is 240 square feet. Tight but livable. For a small family, look at 16 by 24 or larger. Material. Wood frame sheds are easiest to insulate and modify. Steel sheds are durable and low maintenance, but can be harder to work with. Avoid plastic or resin sheds. They are not built for residential conversion. Quality. Look for sheds explicitly marketed for residential or ADU use. Ask the manufacturer about structural ratings. A good prefab shed from a reputable supplier starts around $3,600 for a basic 12 by 20 and can run up to $12,000 for a premium model. Certification. Some shed manufacturers now offer sheds pre-certified or pre-engineered for residential conversion. This can simplify your permit process dramatically. Pro tip: bring someone with construction experience when you go to inspect a shed. Check the roof, the framing, and the floor. Structural issues discovered after delivery can wipe out your savings fast. Alright, this is the section that saves you thousands. Maybe your entire project. Here is the #1 mistake shed converters make in 2026. Starting construction before calling their local zoning office. Zoning laws determine whether you can even place an additional dwelling on your property. They regulate minimum lot sizes, setbacks from property lines, structure heights, and whether ADUs are permitted at all in your area. The good news? The landscape is shifting. States like Texas and North Carolina have become significantly friendlier to ADU and tiny house conversions as the housing crisis forces officials to rethink outdated codes. But here's a critical 2026 update. Many of these same states now require the structure to be anchored to a permanent foundation before it can be legally classified as a dwelling. A shed sitting on gravel blocks is still a shed. A shed on a poured concrete slab can become a legal residence. That distinction can mean everything when it comes to permits, insurance, and resale value. And regulations still vary wildly, even between neighboring counties. Here is your action plan before you spend a single dollar. Step 1. Call your local zoning or planning department. Ask specifically about ADU regulations and whether a shed conversion qualifies. Step 2. Ask about permit requirements and costs. Permit fees typically range from $250 to $1,500, depending on your location. Step 3. Find out if your shed will need to pass any inspections, electrical, structural, or otherwise. Step 4. Check HOA rules if you're in a planned community. Some HOAs prohibit additional structures entirely. Reality check. Some people do build without permits. I'm not going to pretend that does not happen. But if you ever want to sell your property, rent the space legally, or make an insurance claim, an unpermitted structure becomes a very expensive problem. Okay, you've got your shed. You've got your permits. Let us build. Phase 1 Foundation. Your shed probably arrived on gravel blocks or pier footings that worked for storing garden tools. But now you're adding furniture, appliances, plumbing. A poured concrete slab is the recommended foundation for a full residential conversion. Yes, it costs more upfront, but it is safer, more durable, and will give you a level, solid base for everything that follows. Phase 2 Sealing. Before you add a single interior finish, go around the entire structure and seal every crack, gap, and corner with silicone caulk and expanding foam spray. You're keeping out drafts, moisture, and pests. This step is cheap and takes half a day. Skip it and you will regret it every winter. Phase 3. Insulation. For a shed conversion, you have 3 main insulation options, but let me be direct about what 2026 building codes actually require. If you want your structure to pass inspection as a legal ADU, fiberglass bats and a standard 2x4 wall often will not hit the required R values anymore. In many regions, closed-cell spray foam is now the only practical way to meet energy efficiency code inside a 4-inch wall cavity. It costs more, but it does the job and it passes inspection. Use spray foam for walls and ceiling, and add a vapor barrier in humid climates. Rigid foam boards are a solid middle ground option for floors. Phase 4. Electrical. This is not a DIY step unless you're a licensed electrician. Electrical work in a residential structure must meet code. Hire a licensed professional. Budget $1,500 to $4,000, depending on the complexity of your setup. If you're going off-grid, solar panel systems are increasingly affordable in 2026. Get quotes for both grid-tied and off-grid options. Phase 5. Plumbing. If your site allows connection to municipal water and sewer, that is your cleanest option. If not, composting toilets are a popular and code-compliant solution in many areas. Gray water recycling systems are another way to reduce your utility footprint. Phase 6. Interior finishes. This is where your personality comes in. Flooring, drywall or shiplap, cabinetry, fixtures. Budget $1,200 on the low end if you're doing basic DIY work. Up to $6,000 or more if you want hardwood floors and custom cabinetry. Multifunctional furniture, fold-down tables, loft beds, built-in storage will be your best friend in a small footprint. Timeline reality check. A real, livable, code-compliant conversion typically takes 3 to 12 months from start to finish, accounting for permit processing times, contractor availability, and the complexity of your build. Plan accordingly. Let me be straight with you, because that is what this channel is about. A shed conversion is a great fit if you want a permanent or semi-permanent living space on land you already own or are buying. You want to save money on housing without sacrificing comfort or legality. You're open to doing some DIY work to reduce labor costs. You do not need to move your home frequently. A shed conversion is not the right fit if you need a mobile lifestyle. A THOW or RV makes more sense. Your local zoning absolutely prohibits ADUs with no variance options. You want maximum design customization from the ground up. Building from scratch gives you more control. One more honest thing, fire-rated construction requirements exist in proper homes for good reason. Sheds are not built to those standards by default. If you're doing a full residential conversion, work with a contractor who understands residential fire codes and build it right. So there it is, the honest, full-picture guide to converting a $5,000 prefab shed into a tiny home in 2026. Not a fantasy, not a shortcut, a real, budget-smart path to alternative housing if you do it right. The key numbers to remember. Total conversion cost, $12,500 to $45,000 depending on your choices. Shed purchase, $3,600 to $12,000 for a quality 12 by 20 structure. Timeline, plan for 3 to 12 months from start to move in. And always check zoning before you buy a single board. If this video helped you see the shed conversion path more clearly, do me a favor and hit that like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people who need honest housing information. Subscribe if you have not already. I have got more videos coming on ADU financing, off-grid tiny home setups, and real build walkthroughs. Drop your questions in the comments. I read every single one, and I will see you in the next one.